What's up, guys? So after a week of very strong rumors and implications like the Eternals character posters dropping yesterday, the final Eternals trailer has dropped this morning as I'm recording this on a Thursday, the 19th. And what I can say is that the trailer was solid. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I can imagine lots of the general audiences and people who are still very unfamiliar with the Eternals being very unsure about going to go see this movie. These characters have been insanely obscure forever, so this might be a hard sell for a movie even with the star-studded cast. I'm hoping it does well, but we'll have to see. Depending on how Shang-Chi does at box office with a strict theatrical release will determine a lot of things coming up. If Disney sees more potential money through a combo of premiere access and theatrical release, we could potentially get an Eternals premiere access, so that'll be up in the air, just so you know. But this trailer, to a fan of the Eternals, was, I'd say, pretty damn solid, very much closer to good. I feel like it still is not showing enough for people to really get hyped and care, but there are some pretty significant parts in the trailer I gotta talk to y'all about. We're seeing more Celestials, more Deviants, and more powers. We get semi-explanations to really important things that I need to go further on, so y'all will understand exactly what's going on, because Eternals as it is can be very confusing. So other than that, I'll just be giving my thoughts and kinda some predictions as usual. But before we get into all of that, make sure to support your boy by hitting the subscribe button if you dig the content, turn on your notifications, leave a thumbs up, follow my social medias, and share the video if you think I did a good job. Now, let's get into it. So it opens up with Ajax basically giving us the gist of what the hell is going on in this movie and why. Supposedly, when the blip happened, the energy that came from the snaps was enough that set forth the emergence, which could mean several different things. Now, this movie is taking liberties with its characters like the MCU tends to do, so I'd imagine they could be changing the name of certain things, but what I believe could be the emergence is either the Deviants literally emerging from their sunken land of Lemuria to wreak havoc on the earth and possibly mean the end of the world, which is what it looks like, or it could be the dreaming Celestial waking up from its slumber and maybe even becoming a dark Celestial by way of the Horde infecting it and coming to the surface of Earth to F shit up, or more likely it will be the Horde itself. So for those of you who don't know, the Horde is like this insectozoid type race that serves the Fulcrum, which is basically God, kind of, honestly, mixed with Jack Kirby. But when a planet is seeded with life by the Celestials and given Eternals and Deviants, after 19 cycles of no interference, if the life force on the planet is more Deviant heavy, then the energy goes to the Horde, and they basically eat the planet up, and that's pretty much the end of that whole planet. And if it's not, the energy goes to the Celestials. So those are the big, cool looking, weird robot dudes. And so maybe when the blip happened, that's when more Deviants started to pop up, or maybe their population was growing already and they got even more population dense, and the Horde took notice and is coming to reap. That's my best guess anyways, guys. That's what I think is most likely to happen, and they have 7 days to stop them. So I'm curious if this movie takes place, at least the climax of it takes place 7 days after the blip. Okay, I have 2 other videos on the Eternals, just so you guys know that I go a bit more in depth about them in, so I definitely recommend checking those out. I'm kind of just trying to go through the thoughts that I have on the trailer kind of as quickly as possible, but still trying my best to give you guys some insight, give you guys some knowledge if you hadn't already had it. We see Arisem the Judge, kind of like the leader of the Celestials, seemingly making the Eternals while heading to Earth in that spaceship and probably giving them their instructions. A lot of people thought this was Galactus, supposedly, which is pretty weird, and also I saw people calling him Eson the Searcher, the one that we saw in Guardians 1, but it doesn't look like him at all. They probably just changed up the design, which is, you know, kind of whatever, I guess, because these are some of the most unique characters of all time, so why would you even need to change them? But his face is made to look more like Eson the Searcher's face, the one that we've seen. And we also learned that the Eternals came to Earth 7,000 years ago, which isn't quite the same from the comics. In the comics, they were millions of years old, but still 7,000 years is a long ass time. But basically their purpose is to protect humans only if the Deviants are involved. So naturally, everybody lost their shit because Thanos is kind of a deviant and he fucked so much shit up. And the way Icarus is going ham in this trailer makes me mad that he said fuck it during the Battle of Endgame. But I think the way they'll spin it is that Thanos is still technically an Eternal, just with a deviant gene, so not all the way an Eternal. So that might be some weird celestial loophole that fucked them from interfering, but still, I'm very fed up with that, okay? You could have helped out, you could have done so much good, but you just fucking said fuck it. I'm very curious if any of the Eternals got snapped. I'd imagine they would just go to their, base in Olympia or Polaris and just kind of use the reactivation chambers and just come back. That's what I'm thinking. And I also think we see this part in the trailer of Cersei in that weird place. I think that might actually either be Polaris or Polaria or Olympus. They're like the Eternals like bases. That's just what I'm thinking. Another interesting part of the trailer is with Crow, the leader of the Deviants, and Thena here, okay? Now, in the comics, Thena and Crow had a thing. So I'm really thinking that Thena might have done some shit that is helping the Deviants or is currently doing it without their plans being known to the Eternals. Also, I really don't like the design for Crow, not because the comic accuracy, okay, I'm not trying to be one of those guys right now, but he just looks like a glob of shit. It is what it is. I get it, the Deviants are a race without form, but come on, he looks ass, guys. Can anybody actually tell me they like the design? If you like it, that's good for you. I personally don't like it. Nothing against you. If you like it, fucking go to the moon with it, my G, but that's just my opinion. It mentions they haven't seen each other in centuries, so I think a lot of the movie will be the gang getting back together again type of vibe. We also see Cersei in some kind of space type environment, and it looks like she's conveying with the Celestial, who many think is RSM the Judge, and it does look like him. Legit, it's probably him, and this could just be the case of that famous Marvel misleading editing, but basically Cersei isn't really the one who speaks to Celestials. Normally Ajax is the one with that ability. Then later in the comics, Makari started speaking with the dreaming Celestial, and when Ajax got jealous, he killed Makari pretty gruesomely, and Gilgamesh destroyed the activation chambers so he couldn't be reborn, and that's when Cersei conveyed with the dreaming Celestial and used her powers of matter manipulation to bring Makari back in exchange for her life, while she just kind of chilled in the vestibule, the bar that is run by the Fulcrum, the being both the Celestials and the Horde serve, or the almighty Jack Kirby for, you know, everybody who is confused. But this could be Cersei conveying with either of them, and maybe instead of her life for Makari, she brings Dane Whitman back or something of that nature, and maybe even they both are able to live, and that would make sense of the time Black Knight actually got some of the powers of the Eternals when him and Cersei were a thing in the comics. It's like a weird thing that I kind of forgot right now, but again, guys, I go more in depth in the previous Eternal videos that I made. Trust me, they're good videos, they're very informative, so I would definitely recommend checking them out. I'm trying my best here though. Love the shot of Sprite with the fireworks. I believe that's pulled straight from the comics. Also, seeing Cersei's matter manipulation was awesome. Kinjo's powers also look dope. Dina and Gilgamesh are all doing their things, and to top it off, Icarus just stole the show with the laser eyes and the flight. Very reminiscent when Superman was fighting Zod in Man of Steel, and a million people online are saying MCU Superman, and look, the MCU copied Zack Snyder again, hashtag restore the Snyderverse. And I'm just, okay, I get where you're coming from, guys, and you know, always do you, but I'm just gonna be chilling, noticing the similarities and differences and enjoying it all instead of participating in this kind of shit, always. But basically, to top it all off, guys, my whole predictions basically is that the emergence will be the Horde. I think that Dina is doing some shady shit, and I honestly think, because we see in some of the previous trailers, they do actually help the humans. So I don't know if maybe when the Celestials come to judge, and when the Celestials come, they come in waves and they're called hosts, and basically they judge the planet. They were the ones who were responsible for sinking Lemuria and the Deviants. So maybe we'll see that, and I don't know if that has anything to do with that, but maybe they get in trouble with the Celestials for helping the humans, and so they just decide to resign themselves and not interfere at all. Yeah, that's what I gathered from the trailer. Again, I thought it was a solid trailer. I can understand why others don't think it is, because these are characters that are very obscure, so you're gonna really need to hem up the promotions for this one especially. That's my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys thought of the trailer, whether you liked it or not. Let me know what you think. Do you think Shang-Chi is going to do awesome at the box office? Are you gonna buy out theaters to go and see Shang-Chi? Let me know. Let me know if you're going to go see Eternals, or if you're interested in it, or if this trailer piqued your interest. I'm very curious. I'm hoping for the best, but that's pretty much it, guys. If you liked the video, leave me a thumbs up, comment down below, and if you want, subscribe. I always appreciate it. Once again, I hope you guys are all well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.